Do you remember watching old movies, old westerns, where the villain would tie the victim to the railway track, only to have the victim rescued by a cowboy coming in with his horse at the last minute? Well, that scene could never be filmed here. Why? Because sadly, I could be tied to this track all day and not have to worry about a train coming by. I'm Tommy Lee, Vice President of the Northern Ontario Party. As the Liberal government tours across Northern Ontario seeking input from Northerners towards their multimodal transportation strategy, there are a number of things that they're not telling you that deserve to be brought to light. First off, it should be known that they've systematically cut transportation services across the north to a point now that it's a true reflection of the attention we get from Queen's Park as Northerners. The Ontario Northland Transportation Company provides bus service to many parts of Northern Ontario. It's been cut to a point where people in places like Long Lac can only travel west 4 days a week and east 3 days a week. So basically they're left hoping that the travel needs that come up in their life matches up with an inconvenient bus schedule. It should be noted that Ontario Northland, which is now strictly a transportation company with buses and trains, falls under the Ministry of Northern Development and Mines, which allows the legislature to treat it as a different kind of crown corporation. GO Transit falls under the Ministry of Transportation, has the same system, and yet it has a different mandate. Ontario Northland has a mandate to break even, while GO Transit has been given a blank check to throw billions into station upgrades and even operate a new rail line, the Golden Rail, at a huge loss, bringing passengers from downtown Toronto to Pearson Airport. Now, are you ready for this one? Ontario Northland was instructed to provide free advice and consulting to China. Yeah, free, for a Ring of Fire rail line. That's sort of like you having to train someone who your company is bringing in to replace you as you're being let go. Ontario Northland is capable of providing transportation service to all of Northern Ontario, but currently only provides service to people from Hearst to Toronto, through Sudbury and North Bay, and also from Sudbury to Ottawa. Not all runs are 7 days a week. Their only passenger train service runs from Moosonee to Cochrane. Private motor coach companies like Greyhound, Caribou, and Casper provide service to other parts of Northern Ontario, while many communities have no service at all. If you live in the city of Elliott Lake, for instance, you have to find a ride to Blind River if you need to catch the Greyhound bus. The Ontario government joined in a very expensive environmental program for a natural gas bus, which takes 8 hours to refuel and has a very limited range. While they won't notify the public of this, they state the bus is in use. Further investigation shows that it's lucky to be used once a week. Ontario Northland has a newer bus fleet. However, with the distance the buses travel and the extra wear and tear caused by our northern weather and road conditions, it forces the fleet to have constant maintenance and reduces the overall number of buses in service. Numerous times of temporary buses been rented, or buses in the fleet have been sent right back out without the required maintenance. The state of the fleet and the total number of buses in regular service is a disgrace compared to the Southern and Ontario equivalent. GO Transit is continually increasing routes as Ontario Northland continues to streamline with minimal growth. Northern Ontario needs reliable and consistent public transit, not just in northeastern Ontario, but also in the northwest. We need regular passenger train service running from Kenora in the west clear across to Mattawa in the east, connecting with north-south lines, finally bringing our communities together. We're not asking for special treatment. No, we're just asking for fair treatment. Sure, there's not as many of us living in the north, but there's about 750,000 of us that are toughing it out, calling Northern Ontario home because we're a resource-rich region with loads of potential. that can turn into vibrant and healthy economy based on mining and manufacturing if we get the proper transportation infrastructure in place. To the rest of Ontario and the government of the day, please just give us a fair shake. Stop making it harder to live and do business in Northern Ontario. As roughly 10% of Ontario's population lives in Northern Ontario, providing roughly 10% of the taxes, does it not make sense that roughly 10% of the transportation budget should be spent in Northern Ontario? Check out www.northernontarioparty.org for more information on how you can support the only party whose only concern is the betterment of Northern Ontario. Thank you.